Hello. Welcome back to Module 6, Ethical Considerations of Artificial Intelligence. Today we will go over Section 2, Machines and Human Ethics. In this video we will discuss some of the ethical factors that impact the use of AI, as well as some best practices for completing your tasks. Digital innovations across multiple sectors simultaneously enable the common good and create new privacy challenges. Data collection has become pervasive, be it from sensors, cameras, or geospatial technologies. The retention of this data are essentially permanent, and analysis is being conducted in real time. The Department of Homeland Security has expressed interest in using computers to identify suspected terrorists operating within the United States. Algorithms would mine databases containing purchase and travel information to identify suspicious activity. According to a panel of scientists, the most difficult aspect of this initiative would be to determine a pattern of transactions being made to further terrorism. One answer is to utilize artificial intelligence that can mirror the actions of a terrorist organization and search for matching patterns. Protecting innocent lives and stopping political violence is vital, of course. But what are the unintended consequences of this kind of proposal? The volume of personal data that has been collected, stored, and analyzed in order for many intelligent agents to function has raised concerns about user privacy, government surveillance, and data security. In a 2011 article, Allen and two colleagues call for the development of value-sensitive artificial moral agents, or AMAs, that can be integrated into new technology. These AMAs would make decisions that respect data privacy, sustain shared ethical standards, defend civil rights and individual liberty, and recognize the transnational character of computer networks. The authors acknowledge the difficulty of creating these agents, but also stress their necessity. Advances in automation has increased productivity, but at the cost of a reduced human labor force. Further progress in artificial intelligence and robotics could continue the downward trend in traditional employment. However, the types of jobs altered or created by the spread of AI will certainly require different skills. The transition may be difficult or disruptive for some people who are unprepared. The spread of disinformation and fake news has been exacerbated by AI algorithms on social media and search engines that promote clickbait articles and create filter bubbles. The Media Literacy video series will discuss these topics in more detail. Life is full of ethical dilemmas, and hopefully, you will never be faced with a no-win scenario like the trolley problem. The trolley problem is a classic thought experiment introduced by Oxford moral philosopher Philippa Foot in 1967, and subsequently developed by American philosopher Judith Jarvis Thomson in 1976. There are several variations of the problem, one of which posits that a runaway trolley is speeding down on a straight line of track. Ahead are 5 workmen who are repairing the track, and all will be killed if nothing is done to prevent the accident. A bystander has the ability to throw a switch and divert the trolley to an adjacent set of tracks where a single workman is similarly laboring. There are only the 2 options, and the bystander cannot prevent someone from dying. One could add a number of variables to the problem, but at the most basic level, does the life of the one workman have greater or lesser value than the lives of the other 5? Which is the morally permissible choice? What are the consequences of granting these kinds of decision-making power to AI? Can a machine make a moral and ethical decision this complicated? Another issue is that AI execute actions based on what people have instructed it to do rather than what they intended the AI to do. AI is created to replicate human intelligence and behavior, but creators without a solid grounding in ethics and morality will reproduce their own character shortcomings in their AI models. Algorithmic bias is often directly related to conscious or unconscious bias present in training datasets. This kind of discrimination, whether intentional or inadvertent, can be based in gender, race, economic status, political affiliations, or religious beliefs. Use or misuse of data could permit unfair outcomes or reduce the opportunities and choices available to users. Many AI algorithms are black box, which means their inner workings and sometimes their presence can be opaque to users. This impenetrability can conceal biased, deceptive, or erroneous outputs. The Yelp review filtering algorithm is one example. Hundreds of Federal Trade Commission reports were filed accusing Yelp of manipulating its algorithm to force businesses to pay for advertising in exchange for higher ratings. Yelp was also accused of hiding the existence of the algorithm. However, opaqueness may also be due to legitimate reasons such as technical limitations, the safeguarding of trade secrets and other intellectual property, stopping malicious users, and privacy protections. AI models are being used to make significant decisions in vital areas such as hiring, extending a loan, obtaining insurance, and the allocation of social services. When the AI passes over a person following a job interview, the candidate might not be able to offer additional information that alters the decision. When the AI denies a loan due to credit score, a person may want to alter the input variables, such as income, age, or marital status, in order to receive a better number. Being able to change input variables in algorithmic decision-making gives individuals the ability to change the decisions of AI models. The Association of Computing Machinery has defined 7 principles of algorithmic transparency and accountability. Awareness. Owners, designers, builders, users, and other stakeholders of analytic systems should be aware of the possible biases involved in their design, implementation, and use and the potential harm that biases can cause to individuals and society. Access and redress. Regulators should encourage the adoption of mechanisms that enable questioning and redress for individuals and groups that are adversely affected by algorithmically informed decisions. Accountability. Institutions should be held responsible for decisions made by the algorithms that they use, even if it is not feasible to explain in detail how the algorithms produce their results. Explanation. Systems and institutions that use algorithmic decision-making are encouraged to produce explanations regarding both the procedures followed by the algorithm and the specific decisions that are made. This is particularly important in public policy contexts. Data provenance. A description of the way in which the training data was collected should be maintained by the builders of the algorithms, accompanied by an exploration of the potential biases induced by the human or algorithmic data gathering process. Public scrutiny of the data provides maximum opportunity for corrections. However, concerns over privacy, protecting trade secrets, or revelation of analytics that might allow malicious actors to game the system can justify restricting access to qualified and authorized individuals. Auditability. Models, algorithms, data, and decisions should be recorded so that they can be audited in cases where harm is suspected. Validation and testing. Institutions should use rigorous methods to validate their models and document those methods and results. In particular, they should routinely perform tests to assess and determine whether the model generates discriminatory harm. Institutions are encouraged to make the results of such tests public. We discuss cyberbullying in greater detail in the Digital Literacy series, but for now you should know that laws addressing technology-driven crimes usually lag behind innovation. AI software can use to combat types of cyberbullying, including spambots that send mass unwanted messages, the creation and dissemination of fake videos showing victims saying or doing compromising things, bots that can be programmed to stalk their target online, collecting and spreading false and negative information about them. AI bots can store negative information in perpetuity. This kind of attack can sabotage long-term job prospects when a potential employer uses AI to search for negative digital evidence of a candidate. The more disinformation is disseminated, the more difficult is the task of eradicating it. Sadly, victims of cyberbullying have little control or recourse when they are targeted. ChatGPT made its first appearance in scientific literature in early 2023. In the first month of the year, the AI tool was reported to have 4 author credits on published papers and preprints. Journal publishers, editors, and researchers were forced to scramble in establishing policies for artificial intelligence. The tools are disrupting other portions of academia, including whether college essays and research publications will change completely. At this time, a number of publishers and preprint servers have agreed that AI tools do not satisfy the standard for authorship of original works. Interviewed by the magazine Nature, Richard Sever, assistant director of Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory Press, observed, "We need to distinguish the formal role of an author of a scholarly manuscript from the more general notion of an author as the writer of a document." He added that authors may assume legal responsibility for their work, which is something AI tools cannot do. Magdalena Skipper, Nature's editor-in-chief, commented in the same article, An attribution of authorship carries with it accountability for the work, which cannot be effectively applied to LLMs. H. Holden Thorpe, editor-in-chief of the Science family of journals, said, "The word original is enough to signal that text written by ChatGPT or other AI tools is not acceptable. It is, after all, plagiarized from ChatGPT." He also included figures, images, and graphics created by ChatGPT in his characterization, but acknowledged that datasets could be legitimately generated by AI. The London-based publisher Taylor & Francis, the JAMA Network, which publishes articles from the American Medical Association, and the open-access mega-journal PLOS ONE all agree with their colleagues. When you use generative AI with your instructor's permission, you must review the rules of citation for the academic field in which you are writing and treat AI-generated output as third-party material that must be cited. Typically, co-authors must make a noteworthy scholarly contribution to the work, which AI may accomplish, but tools cannot agree to be a co-author. Additionally, AI tools are not capable of taking responsibility for the validity and integrity of papers' content, although they could be acknowledged as a source. Being AI literate means being socially responsible and considering the ideas of legal responsibility and intellectual property. AI cannot consent to terms of use and the right to distribute content. Next time, with this video, you have finished the Artificial Intelligence Literacy series. Be sure to access the other video series produced by the Barton Library. Until then, thank you for your time. If you want to learn more about the subjects we have discussed, here are the sources used for this section.